What's up, party people, and welcome to another episode of Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
That's right. It's your favorite live comic book review show here on Monday nights around 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are very excited to be here to talk about the latest and greatest in comic book news and reviews. We're going to start with a little bit of news, and then we're going to go into the reviews, and we're going to have a special guest named David Pepos swinging by this show before we get rolling, as well as then we're going to talk about the book of the week, recommendations,
all of it,
super chats,
and even more.
And by the way, we should mention that this show is sponsored by viewers like you. If you're watching the show live, you can sponsor today's show by using a super chat, ask a question or comment, read it here on the show. It'll be part of the show forever. And so that's that. That's your incentive to do that, because we don't have sponsors for the most part. That kind of concept has kind of dried up over the years. You'll see them on your favorite YouTube channels, but they want a lot from them. You know, they want metrics. They want more or less for you to stop asking for the money back. Like, it's really gross. So I just say, I say to hell with it. Like, I'd rather not deal with it. And comic book publishers don't sponsor shows. So It's just, it would make sense for us to be sponsored by like DC or Marvel or Boom or IDW or somebody like that. But they just can't afford it. And I understand. Like,
they can't afford.
Well, Marvel and DC could easily afford it, but they're not going to.
The sal of it all.
They can't afford me.
They could probably afford Ethan or Ben.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably. But yeah, I'm excited to talk about what's going on in the world.
What's going on in the world?
Well, we got another trailer for Predator Killer of Killers.
Oh.
And for this,
I didn't watch it.
You don't have to worry about it. It's streaming June 6th on Hulu. And with Hulu on Disney Plus, if you do
that's really soon.
Yes, it's very soon.
That's surprisingly soon. Like, because I apparently don't know what day it is. I don't know what month it is. I don't know what's happening. Mm-hmm. None of it.
Yeah, I'm very hyped for this.
That's awesome.
So I hope it does well. And then we'll see Predator Badlands, which is also, I think, coming out this year.
This says November 7th.
Yeah.
Only in theaters.
That's really hype. I'm really excited for that. Predator Badlands, Predator Killers. And not to be outdone, this summer we're getting the Fantastic Four and Superman within the same month.
I don't even know what those are anymore. Do they have a Predator in them?
Right. If they want to do better, they should. That would make sense to me. But yeah, July 2025 is the summer of Superman and Fantastic Four, and I'm excited for it. I'm there for it. I'm sad to say I won't be able to do the double feature. But mostly because there's like a 2-week period between the release of Superman and Fantastic Four.
You don't want to wait.
But also, Fantastic Four comes out the week of Comic-Con.
Oh, right.
And so, I can't spend all day in a movie theater. I got to go to Comic-Con.
Heck yeah. I love that they're calling it the Summer of Fans. I like that people are taking that
on.
Like, that's such a nice idea.
I saw the MCU Film News and DC Film News social media handles were like, hooray!
Yeah, good. Like, let's just keep it positive. Let's not worry about a versus. We don't need to verse anything.
No, unless it's in the comics themselves.
Yeah, let them do it.
Exactly. Let the heroes duke it out. You, the fan, just enjoy what they have.
Heck yeah.
Another plea, by the way, to our folks over at Marvel and IDW. We saw a incidental crossover at our local ice cream parlor, which they have these cake toppers, and they're literally just toys.
This
and
is little like cake toys, whatever.
But they put all 4 turtles, and someone put like Spider-Man among the
hanging out with them.
Clearly, they were like, "Oh, I'm telling a little story here," but it was just Spidey and the turtles, and I was like, "That's you." You saw it first, and you were like, "Where's that book?"
Yeah,
and I'm like, "Yeah, in the 40 years that the turtles have existed, never has there ever been a Spider-Man to Ninja Turtles crossover."
I was like, you could, obviously it's outside of continuity for Spider-Man, but you could set it during a different period for Spider-Man, like when he's with Mary Jane and she knows he's Spider-Man, because then the turtles have to go to his apartment.
Yeah.
Where they get to do an April O'Neil all over again.
Oh,
but it's Mary Jane in her apartment with Spider-Man.
That'd be really great.
And she's a different vibe.
Honestly,
she brings a very different energy.
She does, a little different from the MJ or from the April of the comics or the show or the movies or any of the other interpretations of the Ninja Turtles.
And if Casey Jones comes along, he's gonna be like, "Hello." She's like, "No, I'm good."
No.
Exactly. Sorry.
I do.
Felicia.
Yeah, she would love it. Are you kidding me? She'd be all about it. That said, I feel like if you're going to do that, I mean, like Ninja Turtles, you do what they did with Stranger Things, where Stranger Things, Ninja Turtles crossover, that was set in the same year as Stranger Things, which of course is set in the 80s. So you do the exact same thing. You set it 1984, Pete's right off of Secret Wars. So he's got the alien costume. He's in the sewers fighting vermin and stuff. And also the turtles are there. Hell, you can even do an alternate version of Kraven's Last Hunt, where instead of Spider-Man getting shot by Kraven, the turtles show up. And then it's Spider-Man and the turtles
So if
versus
he
Kraven
has
and
the alien
vermin.
costume, he's wearing it.
Actually, I think by Kraven's Last Hunt period, there is no alien costume. He's already
Okay.
purged it. So it doesn't matter. But who cares?
I was gonna say, because you have the alien side for turtles as well.
That's true. Yeah, you got the Utrum.
You could also see like the costume abandoned Spidey for Raph.
That'd be great. Yeah. Be great to see. Any of those options are great. But yeah.
We don't take claim for any of these. Please just take them.
No, I'm these are up for grabs. If I wanted to keep
free.
them, I wouldn't be sharing them on a live show. But yeah, so jumping into some comics here. Let's see what we got here.
So.
I guess we could talk really briefly about the Godzilla X-Men crossover that occurred just this past week. I am this is a neat idea of just hey, Marvel is open to crossovers, IDW. But Fabian Nicieza and Emilio Lizo have the distinction of doing this crossover. Let's see, where the hell is it? This
Pick one of them. Pick any of them. Just wait and see.
There it is. All right. Godzilla X-Men. Yeah, I mean, you know what's interesting is like I was teasing the idea. Obviously, it's set in the 90s. Fabian Nicieza writing a X-Men book again. It's going to feel like a 90s book, and it kind of does. But for the most part, it's just an adventure. Where you watch, Nicieza was like, I'm going to world build. I'm going to do something about this. So like, of course, there are Japanese characters within the X-Men universe who would have been first responders to a Godzilla attack. In this case, there's no nonsense with Godzilla destroying cities and stuff. Godzilla is just making a beeline for a container ship, and cutting to the chase, they built a Mechagodzilla out of a Sentinel, and so Godzilla's got to fight it.
Right.
I mean, that's the book. There's no like two ways about it. This is, at this point, I was like, all right, so like all of them are going to be like this. Like, I mean, Godzilla has to fight the characters, but I mean, that's what you signed up for. It's a versus. Godzilla versus X-Men. The X-Men do kind of fight him. It's actually kind of not this cover. Like, I'm almost disappointed if it weren't for the fact that, like, hey, it's a crossover. It's really rare to see this, and it's cool that it happened. And I'm glad that the team were, being clever about it and working extra hard to make this fun. But yeah, they steal these super adaptoid and then kind of like dump all their powers into it. And so using Pym particles, they make a big super adaptoid that is all the X-Men fighting Godzilla. And I was like, yeah, okay. But like the X-Men have all fought big guys before. Like we could just do that.
No.
It was like, oh, that's not what I was expecting. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's certainly what I was like, oh, that's fine. All right. It's cool.
Okay.
So Godzilla X-Men, did I love it? No. But it wasn't bad. And Emilio Lizo's work was fine. That's it.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I wish I had more to say. And maybe if I were a bigger, like more hardcore Godzilla fan, that might have changed things for me, but I'm not, and it didn't. Speaking of X-Men, I also read Wolverine #9.
Oh, did you?
I did.
How you liking it?
I mean, I like the series. It's a good series. Wolverine has been bouncing around dealing with Wendigos and Department H characters who are trying to fight him or track him or whatever the hell. In the last issue, Wolverine gets a clandestine letter from what would be his mother, who, according to X-Men Origins, or Wolverine Origins, I should say, she blew her brains out with a shotgun or a rifle, I guess it was.
Right.
And so did she make it? Maybe she had the healing factor too. Who knows? But Saladin Ahmed and Javier Pina are essentially showing a Wolverine who is like doing what Wolverine does best. I'm not reading X-Men, but in this, they're like, I joined the X-Men again. I'm like, thank you, Wolverine book. I'm not reading X-Men, so I appreciate that heads up. I was expecting you to, so I'm glad that worked out. But it doesn't have any bearing on this. He's just like, oh, by the way, if you're wondering, this is happening during
I'm also doing this.
I'm also doing that.
Because I'm Wolverine. This is one of my many powers. I can be in all the books.
I'm a multitasker. That's my real power. And so, we get a bar fight. We get a scene where he fights classic two old marauders from the Fall of the Mutants series, and that was neat. And Wolverine threatens to have a big Sabretooth fight, and I was like, was Sabretooth an X-Men Wolverine? I don't remember. I don't remember because I didn't read the Origins series. I read the Jenkins Kubert book.
Right.
And I know there's a sequel, and I know there was another one, and they've done callbacks that I don't know. I remember Dog, and I was like, isn't Dog like just a stand-in for Sabretooth? And I remember complaining that like, shouldn't that just be Sabretooth? In this case, it was like, and also Sabretooth is coming because that's how it should be. And I'm like, cool. All right, good. I hope it's great. It's fine.
Sabretooth is
getting a lot of mileage.
Is to Wolverine sometimes what the Joker is to Batman.
Sabretooth is Wolverine's Joker. No question about it.
Like, just... Oh, yeah, but hey, I've got my Sabretooth story ready.
Everyone... Well, you do.
I don't.
No, I'm kidding.
I do not.
I'm surprised. You should.
Why?
Get one.
Get a Sabretooth story?
You need to have one in the chamber. We talked to too many influential people. You got to have one ready to go. For any character. What's your Moon Knight pitch? You got one too?
No.
Oh, that's a shame. You're going to have to work on that.
I just need like a standard pitch that I could be like, oh, and
Sabretooth.
And it's and then this happens.
Yeah.
It's this character.
Whoa, Tiffany. If you think you're doing bad, you're not. Please keep going. That's them. But yeah, this is a good series. It's a solid series. This is better than Daredevil, I'll tell you that much. But the book continues to be Wolverine doing his thing. It's you can't ask for much more.
Wolverine doing his thing.
Being a book that some people read, I guess.
I think that's what happens with Wolverine runs. It's just like it hits a certain number of people.
Fine.
And they like it.
Yeah.
And then another one comes out and other people like it.
Exactly. I read all new, all deadly Gwenpool because I threatened to do that last time. I was like, wait a minute. Like, Marvel did a whole thing where they were like, is it going to be a resurrection of Gwen Stacy or a clone or something like that? And you're going to have to wait until the next issue to find out. Written by Cavan Scott and art by Stefano Nessi. This is more or less a Gwenpool book. And when I say Gwenpool, I don't mean the character on this cover. I mean like real Gwenpool, like the Heather Antos character.
Oh.
She teams up with Spider-Man and does some... they fight Fin Fang Foom with Jeff the Shark because Gwen is the steward of Jeff.
Obviously.
And they fight Fin Fang Foom, and it's fun. And Gwenpool uses her fourth wall breaking powers to do it. And I'm like, that's smart. This is great. You're doing a fine job. The cold open of this book implies that Gwen, like, there is this other character. She shows up at the 0 hour. Spider-Man webs her mask off, and we have a big Gwen Stacy reveal. She even got the headband on, and she's like, I'm Gwen Stacy. And then you're going to have to find out in the next issue what that means. And I genuinely couldn't care less. As a Gwenpool book, this is actually pretty fun. It was nice to see Gwenpool interact with Spider-Man and Jeff and Fin Fang Foom of all characters, a character that I'm like, whoa, where is Fin Fang Foom and how do I cut to him? But, the art is fine. It's serviceable. It's a fine superhero fare. There's nothing necessarily bad about it whatsoever. It's just, it's lighthearted and fun. It captures the spirit of a Gwenpool book, which is all that I could ask for. Gwen makes a few references to the 90s as a possible explanation for this Gwen Stacy. My theory, if I have to have one, which I barely do, is that it's Sarah from the Sins Past story arc, but I think Nick Spencer fixed that. I don't know. I don't care. It's fine.
With Marvel Rivals having like so many interactions with Jeff can go with so many characters now, including Emma Frost, who's like a big fan.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Like when he dies, she's like, my baby. Like,
got to protect him at all costs.
Yes.
Yeah. So, by the way, the book is called just Gwenpool. It's not like all new, all different.
Gwenpool asterisk.
No, and then it becomes something else. Oh God.
Sarah Pool.
Please no. Please write less.
I'm helping.
That's my note.
I'm helping right now.
You're
welcome.
I don't care.
All of you.
Right? What about you, Tiffany? What's
would
the
you
book
like
that you
me
read?
to talk about?
I would love it. Yeah.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Mayhaps. Pick one of them.
How about Ultimate X-Men?
Let's do it. Ultimate X-Men number 15 by Peach Momoko. Man, I loved this issue.
What a shock.
Canon. Yeah. Psylocke.
Oh, Quanon, yeah.
No.
Canon.
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 Former police officer brother Tatsuya, who like I remember being in the book and then completely forgot about. Meets with a friend at like a local cafe. This friend suspiciously looks like Rogue.
Oh no!
We don't say anything about it. I feel like she's probably been in this book, but I don't remember at all. But she's got like the hair. And she's got like yellow gloves on.
All right.
But we don't say anything about it.
Okay, fine. Like, that's what this book does. They're like, here's a character from X-Men, maybe. I don't know. Moving on.
All right. They're going over a bunch of files about My Ex. Remember My Ex?
Yes.
It was like a reveal.
Yes.
And discover that Akihiro might be the first mutant or first experiment and might be the kind of key to figuring this whole thing out. So their plan is to go deal with that, right? Meanwhile, Nico,
yes.
Minoru has infiltrated the Children of the Atom as Grimm. I was like, nice.
Yes.
Very good pull there, Peach. She manages to slip away from the main group and overhears some information about Hisako. So she's like, oh, okay, because nobody knows where Hisako is right now, right? Meanwhile, the Maester, who's in charge of the Children of the Atom, seemingly, really, it's like other people, seems to need some sort of sacrifice or something to Akihiro. Like he brings this girl there.
Okay.
And like we don't see what happens.
Oh.
Right. And also the Shadow King seems to want to do away with Akihiro.
Oh no.
So like there's a lot surrounding a character who we saw and then never went back to again, which I kind of love because it's been a lot of what this book has been like development. I didn't forget that. I'm like, oh, I did. May, Cannon, and Nori meet up to discuss an intense vision that Nori had. It was like of Akihiro and violence and Hisako and all these things. And while they're talking about their next move, they feel like they're being watched, and they are. At least we see that. They don't know that, but like we see like a masked individual watching them. Like the Blue Spirit, but not.
Yo, I see. From Avatar: The Last Airbender.
It's like, so, like, what is it? Who could it be?
Sure,
we're gonna find out.
You have your theories?
No, I hadn't really thought about it because you only see like a sliver of their face in the door.
Right,
so it's like, hey, it could be Silver Samurai, but it could be literally anyone. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, like this issue just like for some reason hit on all the right levels. Like I've always enjoyed these issues, but this one in particular, just everything was just firing. It was just really strong, really tight. And Peach's storytelling just feels like it's getting stronger. The art in this issue really popped for me. Like, her art always pops.
Yeah.
But like this issue, I was really struck by her color choices and her painting control and her mastery of light and shadow. Like she just really has this understanding of it and like achieves it in as few strokes as possible.
Nice.
Which is always like incredibly like impressive to me. That's just something that blows my mind. You see artists, obviously digital artists, they approach it a different way. All sorts of artists with different mediums approach that in a different way. But Peaches is just this like not a sacrifice of detail, but just a very efficient and graceful way of achieving it. And it just this issue in particular just hit me. I was like, also at the end there was a lexicon. Which was really, it was just sweet and it was perfect. And now I just want her to paint all the food because that's what she did. She shared with us some of her favorite cafe snacks, like when she goes to a cafe in Japan. And so she painted up all the things that she really, really likes. Cool. And they were delightful. And I was like, I just want to try all of these. So like throughout the like 15 issues so far of X-Men, we've learned a lot about Japan culture, but I also enjoy that we're getting to know the creator behind it through these final pages, whether it be music choice or food now.
Yes.
Just really, really fun. I think there is something really special about this book. And I think even when the Ultimate Universe ends, this will be something that people could read all on its own. Like, I'm not saying it exists in a void because it does reference certain things, but it's not as reliant on the rest of the Ultimate Universe. So I think this will be a really fun, like sort of like almost like treated like an OGN, maybe when it's wrapped up, where they'll be like, wow, this is really fun. Like I love this like little corner of this universe. Yeah. And that would be it. But yeah, for some reason, like again, recently, like the issues, they've been good. This one was, I was like, ooh, this is really good. Yeah.
Nice. Well, I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, really, like, just really great. I'm always like afraid that it's going to be over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I really don't know. I don't pay attention to that type of stuff.
Yeah, no. Hickman was on a podcast recently, which just, you can't go anywhere on the internet without being reminded of it. But you hear all kinds of stuff. You never know what's going to be of this universe.
Right.
So, especially because he's doing the whole thing in the Marvel universe proper.
Mhm.
It's going to be in space. And it feels like it's going to be another thing where he's like, no, I'm not finishing this. I'm not working on this. I ensnare the reader and then I pass it off to someone who you're way less excited about reading.
That's what I do.
That's what I do now. That's what I do, baby. Cool. And then I complain about it 5 years later on a podcast. So yeah, I'm glad that Ultimate X-Men is continuing to please.
Yeah, absolutely.
I read Batman Dark Patterns #6, as
Very
you can
nice.
imagine, which is of course, one of the best Batman books on the shelves now. It is
Such a bizarre cover.
so great. I mean, it's not bizarre if you know who you're dealing with here.
No, I know, but just think about this on the shelf. I mean, it definitely is an attention grabber.
Yeah.
But when you think about standard covers, this does not come to mind.
No, it's true. Dan Waters, Hayden Sherman, same creative team as before. And this is the last issue of this chapter. I believe there's going to be one more Dark Pattern. So there should be 9 issues in total of Dark Patterns, but I don't know. Maybe there'll be more. Hopefully. I like it. We get the reveal of who the voice in the tower is. We know, but we know how it works, and we find out how that all comes to pass. We get a little bit of a retconned origin for Wesker, the voice or life of Scarface. This issue is just watch Batman solve the mystery / explain the mystery and then save the day. That's all this issue is. Great art from Sherman, fantastic panel layouts. There's a cool image of Jim, but overall it's just, this will be, I hope it's remembered. But if it isn't, it will be like the fact that this looks like a book from the 90s is just like indicative of the tone that I think they're striking, where it's like, this is yet another like of someone's favorite Batman story that is in long boxes, that is like just dirt cheap, that no one remembers. I fear that's what this will be. This is certainly the best Scarface story I've ever read.
Right.
It's the thing I've always been pitching, where I'm like, Scarface is a fun character. You can get like 2 great stories out of him, but do it, instead of just not doing anything with him, or trying to make him, you can't 52 Mr. Mind him. You have to like do something fun with him. And that's what this is. It's very fun. It's really cool. It looks awesome. And still has that modern sensibility. It is also more or less divorced from the previous 3 issues, like from that story arc, but there's connective tissue.
Okay.
There's that disgraced doctor that's in there, and he shows up at the end to kind of like offer his expert advice, which who cares? But like, you can see that, this is part of this whole saga. That was cool. So looks great, reads great. It's a fun story. Done in 3.
It's awesome.
A miracle. Who'd have thought? So check that out. Batman Dark Patterns #6.
It's a freaking miracle.
Exactly.
Wait, how is this? All right, can we go back really quickly to Dark Patterns?
Yeah.
Is this the story that is being told in 3?
Yeah, 3 volumes, 3 issues per volume.
That's it. So this is the end of the 2nd volume?
That's correct.
Okay. But it still has to do with... Wait, the first one didn't have to do with Scarface, right?
No.
Okay. I keep thinking like Scarface has been like in this book for like
3 issues.
It doesn't feel like it. I guess maybe it's just your enthusiasm for it. It feels like he's always been in there.
I know. He hasn't.
Interesting. Did they give you a hint as to what the next volume is going to be about?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I'm remembering now the first one. I think I just blocked that out of my mind because I hated those covers because they were so uncomfortable looking because they were so well rendered.
Right.
And that was a made up character, or was
new character, Needleman.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I wonder if the last one will be a made up character or an established character.
Yeah. I don't know. Oh, apparently it's 12 issues. My bad.
Oh, okay.
So 4 arcs.
Well, that's really nice though. You were
Even
actually, I rather have it your thought where it's like you think it's shorter and then it's longer.
Oh,
as
more.
opposed to
Yeah.
you think it's longer and it's shorter.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be that like we revisit the guy from before.
What are the dark patterns?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't seen them.
So like it's a very distinctly selected,
Deliberately titled. Yeah.
What are the dark patterns? Has anyone figured them out?
I couldn't say.
Are they in there?
I don't think anybody's talking about it.
Nobody's talking about the dark patterns.
I don't think so.
I'm talking about them.
Well, there you go. You're the only one.
I'm talking about these. I'm not even reading the book. I'm talking about the dark patterns.
It's so true. Yeah. Well, I guess it's time for Tiffany to remind you of a book that no one's reading that is also fantastic.
Oh, okay.
And we need to get Brian Hill on the show so we can just start pimping out this book.
Let's talk about Ultimate Black Panther number 16 by Brian Hill with art by Carlos Nito. I'm going to go over a little bit. I don't always do this about what's going on in this book. So if you're not keeping up for some reason, hear me out, folks. This is a great book. T'Challa and Aurora, and their new assassin friend team up to find the assassin's brother, Adi, who's been possessed by the vibranium entity. After witnessing the death of the assassin, which that happens immediately. Like that guy's like, hey, I'm like going to be in the book for a minute or two. And then like, I'm like, no, you're not. There's no way. And he's not. After witnessing the death of the assassin, T'Challa speaks with the entity, who indicates that the line of either T'Challa's line or the line of the Black Panther, I'm not clear on that, has always been in service of vibranium in this world.
Okay.
It's ultimate.
Yeah.
And he has a role to play in opening the gate to link the now to the old.
Okay.
I was like, I don't know what that means, but I think it's bad. You have to stop this. We fight breaks out. We see Storm go down, like she's just down for the count. The entity goes off to open the gate, and T'Challa and Storm recover and talk about the future of Aurora and Killmonger's roles within here. Because T'Challa is basically like, "Hey, things seem to be really dangerous, so you're good. You can stop now. I'm not going to put anybody else in danger. That's my decision. Moving on."
Right.
And she's like, "No, that's not how this works, honey." She's like, you want us to leave because you think fear is a weakness, but it's not. Like, do you think that Okoye doesn't think that you're afraid? Like, what is this?
Right.
Like, I know Killmonger is like, upset and afraid of things. Like, it's not a problem. It's not a weakness. So you got to like harness that and use that. So get over it. Kind of cool. Like, you were seeing these two characters, Storm and Black Panther, together in a room with a bed. You could very easily just lean to being like, oh my gosh, will they, won't they? No, it's just a conversation between two like strong individuals who are just, one's trying to hype the other one up to be like, you have to accept the fact that it's like, you don't have all the answers. Moving on.
Okay.
Like, we're in it, and yeah, it's going to be scary and we don't know what's going to happen, but we have to do this. Also at the start of it, we meet a new character, Dr. Mara, and learn that someone wants her. This is the interesting part. This is the whole thing is interesting because the character development, the character work between the core of this book is phenomenal, and I love watching their growth. But here's an interesting little nugget that was like, if you knew or you were like me and didn't know and was like, I'm gonna look this up because I don't know what this is. You got to learn something. So we meet Dr. Mara, and we learn that someone wants her to study the vibranium, right? Okay. And you think it's going to be about the fact that there's a vibranium entity, right? But it has nothing to do with that. And in fact, the shadowy figure that we don't know who it is looking into it to understand yield capacity of vibranium, right?
Yeah.
I was like, what? I don't know what that is. And I'm the first one to admit it. Comic books constantly challenge me in terms of my own vocabulary and my own knowledge. And I love that about them, where it's like, get out there, find a way to look it up. I don't care how you look it up, fact check it, right? So I'm like, what is it? Well, it's the stress at which a material begins to deform plastically. Plastically, yes.
Okay.
So I'm thinking it's related to the maker, and possibly how he might be able to infuse himself with vibranium or create some sort of vibranium armor.
Okay, all right.
But you only know that if you challenge yourself.
Right.
So my final words on this is, again, Hill is bringing his A game here. I feel like every time I read this series, I can't help but think that Hill could produce a live action series for Black Panther or any other character in the Marvel Universe. It's just a tight book. And I know a lot of folks are just used to a pretty like standard way in which comic book arcs work. And I think Hill goes against that tradition. And I think that's good. And I think you should absolutely read things that maybe don't follow the same pattern that you're quite used to. I think this is such a strong book. I'm afraid that people aren't picking it up because they were expecting one thing. I don't know why.
I don't think they were. I mean, I don't know what you would expect. Every time I pick up a Black Panther book, I never know what to expect.
I know.
And I'm always like, what? And it's always something that I would never have expected.
Yes.
That's not to say that I'm always delighted, but this is one of those examples where it's like Black Panther is versatile enough where you could do something different.
Yes. And I think it's not so drastically different that it's not like, oh, I had a pitch for a totally different character. This entire story, this entire arc, this entire whatever is tailored to the character.
Yes.
It's just different. And I think that its differences are some of its greatest strengths. So.
That's fair. Well, while we take a break from our comic book reviewing to welcome one of our special guests of the week, I'm so excited to welcome back Mr. David Pepos to the show. David, welcome back to the show, man.
Hi, Sal. Thank you so much for having me. Excited to be on the show and excited to talk comics with you today.
Same, man. There is so much to talk about because you have gone, I mean, completely into your own childhood and brought it back for the modern audiences in two respects. Of course, the first one being the revolution that is the Space Ghost series, which I mean, from the art immediately, I was like, this is gonna be something special, and then became what it is. I know you have an annual coming up pretty soon, which is very exciting. We'll talk more about that in a minute. But the thing that I think is fun because of how much people have brought it up, irrespective of the run that has debuted, is Captain Planet. People being like, man, we need to have a Captain Planet reboot like right now. And you're like, well, you're in luck because it came out last week.
Yeah. It's a funny niche that I've been carving for myself lately between Space Ghost and Captain Planet and Speed Racer, which kicked off on Free Comic Book
Yes.
Day. I never expected that I would be the licensed nostalgia cartoon guy. But I think there's something really interesting about all three of these books that I think anytime you have a property that's enduring in that way, that has lasted the test of time, some of these books for, some of these for almost 60 years, even Captain Planet is the newbie at 35 years.
Right.
But I think when you have anything that's enduring like that, there's clearly something to the core concept that's timeless. That you don't need to change. I think that's the thing that I always want to stress about my books is, we are doing like reboots or relaunches, I should say, brand new continuity. So it's accessible for anybody who either doesn't know the characters or maybe only half remembers them. But yeah. I'm not looking to break anything because there's nothing that needs fixing. For me, I think it's just a matter of taking those core materials and just reappraising them with modern storytelling techniques and trying to figure out what makes them so resonant and what's made them endure the test of time. And so, yeah, Captain Planet in particular is a book that I've pitched around the industry for as long as I've been in it.
I didn't know that. I thought that was just one of those things where Dynamite was kicking it around and you were like, well, I mean,
I demanded that I get that book at San Diego Comic-Con last year when Dynamite announced that they picked up the rights to Captain Planet, among other books. I walked over to BarCon. I saw my publisher, Dick Barucci. I saw my editor, Joe Rybant. I showed them the press release on my phone, and I said, you don't have anybody on this book, do you? Because if so, you have to do it for me. So, I think for me, Captain Planet has always been about, yes, it gets a bad rap for maybe being unsubtle with its politics or being very much a product of its time. But I feel like, we're seeing a resurgence of this reappraisal of these classic, properties. It was spearheaded by Daniel Warren Johnson with Transformers and Declan Shalvey and Drew Moss on Thundercats, Joe Casey and Sebastian Perez and Johnny Quest, among others. And I think, I think it's the target is to try to modernize these things and to make them relevant for a new audience. But I think as far as, its politics go, its politics have been unsubtle, but I'd argue reality's gotten a lot less subtle.
That's true.
And so it's one of those things that I feel like, for me, the thing that really appealed about Captain Planet is, not only is it inherently diverse and multicultural in a way that I don't think we've seen done that organically since Giant Size X-Men.
Yeah.
Or the fact of how timely the themes are, how it tackles not just climate change, but environmental disaster, the all too human greed that fuels it. And I think lastly, pop culture's caught up. We've pitched this book as X-Men meets Avatar: The Last Airbender. And so we're able to inject really cool pop culture DNA into this story to make it, I think hopefully more personal and more immediate and more exciting for modern day audiences. So it's been a really fun book. Artist Amon Casalos has been killing it. And for those who read issue 1, that's sort of our table setting issue where you get to see Captain Planet in action and meet the various Planeteers in their individual contexts. Issue 2, we're going to see the Planeteers converge on New York. And let's just say some of those initial meetings are going to be more explosive than any of them might have expected.
That's fantastic, man. I'm excited to see a modern telling of Captain Planet, because I think deep down there's always been room. There's always been an opportunity for it to continue or evolve into what
Yeah.
it is. I think it's funny how you were like, it was an unsubtle kind of concept back in the day, and yet how unsubtle our sensibilities have become, yet how much more subtle the book is than its counterpart was.
Well,
So hopefully it'll reach that audience.
I think, back then it's all about who the target audience is. When it came out in 1990, it was, sort of leading edge edutainment. Ted
Right.
Turner and Barbara Boxer or Barbara Pyle and Nick Boxer. They were trying to target, a whole generation of kids to try to just get them educated about, the environment and climate change. I think just to put it in their minds. That's how I learned about it as a kid.
Yeah.
I think now that we're targeting sort of, an older demographic, it's kind of fun to say, like, look, these cartoons from your childhood, they've grown up alongside you, and what does that look like? But yeah, I feel like, Captain Planet and the Planeteers are very much characters that have been overlooked, but it was always meant to be the world outside your window. And I think that's what lends such a fun and timeless and important quality, that you can say, all right, like, it looked like that in 1990. Things have changed dramatically in the 35 years since. What would that look like now? The Planeteers are just people like you and me, people from the world outside your window. And so I think, after years of being overlooked, I think people are starting to see that, like, oh, these are really the heroes that meet today's moment.
Yeah.
And so that's something that I've really taken a big responsibility over. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to tell this story, but I think, trying to sort of reflect the real world and trying to invite as many different people to the table and say, hey, I hope you can feel seen in this book, because ultimately that's what Captain Planet is really all about at its core. Beyond its environmental message, it really is a book about instilling empathy and showing that, like, people from different walks of life, you have more in common than not, and that we're always stronger together than we are apart.
Well, and it's so smart to tie it to this concept of, like, giant size X-Men, where while it was this big multicultural push, it never felt anything less than an X-Men book. And that's, I think, the tone and the spirit that you're striking with Captain Planet and the Planeteers, which is just, here's a bunch of characters, you're already familiar with them. There's no agenda here that wasn't on display 40 years ago, or 35 years ago. Like, jump on board and have some fun with us, and maybe learn something.
I think it's all baked into the core concept. I mean, it was a political cartoon, and I think, if it came out today, it'd be seen as subversive.
Oh, totally.
But I think ultimately, the thing that I've always resonated about Captain Planet is there's always room to build a bigger table.
Right.
Like I every time I write a book, my goal is not to preach to the choir. I want converts. And so, for me, like, my goal is, when we have our origin story wrapped up, to be able to say, hey, like, do you remember this cartoon? We've got a brand new update, and it's perfectly accessible for you, and, hopefully tackles today's modern issues while still being a fun and exciting and action-packed series. Yeah. So lots of fun stuff coming for that book, but it's been a long time coming, but I'm thrilled that we made it happen.
Yeah. When does issue 2 come out?
That is a good question. Let me see.
That was my transition. I could pull it up.
I have it. June 4th.
Okay, June 4th. Great. So check it out if you haven't already, folks. Before we go on, I wanted to mention congratulations on all your success with Space Ghost. And how, when you launched, when we saw, I remember seeing the preview pages and being blown away by how good that book looked and how exciting that concept was. I remember how much you loved the ideas and you were really passionate about this direction, this completely whole cloth concept that also paid homage to a lot of, Space Ghost lore and concepts that might have been lost to just the fact that media hasn't really kept up with the character. Sure. But here you are now, and there's going to be an annual for this series. How good does that feel?
I'm really excited. I mean, so our annual for Space Ghost was meant originally to be the capstone of the whole run.
Really?
When Dynamite first approached me to tackle Space Ghost, one of the things that was so appealing to me was that they were offering a really long runway, longer than I've gotten on any book before. they said, how would you feel about 13 issues to start? So our annual was sort of our way of kind of like doing a big crescendo for sort of the overarching meta story about, RoboCorps' ultimate plans involving Blip, which if you've read Space Ghost issue 12, now you kind of have a sense of what that is and the true villain who's been sort of waiting in the wings. But also you'll see that because we're going to be extending our run, we're doing a brand new issue 1 that's coming out the following month. Think of it as like a Space Ghost season 2. We get to end this annual with some really exciting developments that are going to inform the next era of Space Ghost storytelling. I think for me, the whole book, we pitched it as Batman Long Halloween meets the Mandalorian. And I think that really speaks to, the wealth of mythology that Alex Toth left us. For 5-minute episodes, he really packed a lot of personality into each of these character designs and concepts. And so that's been such a thrill for me as we're sort of doing the villain of the month, where we're saying, okay, what are the qualities that stand out about the Council of Doom, and how can we give them individual twists that like make that stand out? But also, it's the interpersonal dynamic. It's about, a grim, gruff cosmic vigilante finding 2 orphans and teaching them to become his partners and his trusted sidekicks and becoming sort of a found family in their own right. And so that dynamic, addressing that in each and every issue is, I think, the engine that drives the heart of the whole series. And so, it's been a really fun book to work on. Artist Jonathan Lau I can't say enough good things about him. He has been leaving it on the field every single issue, really making it sing. He is a consummate professional, just an amazing storyteller, and the man draws like a damn Terminator. It's always all I can do to stay ahead of him. But yeah, with our annual, it's round 3 of Space Ghost versus the Council of Doom, but also sort of a RoboCorps sized wrinkle thrown in for good measure. And so I'm so thrilled with how that issue came out. I really think that Jonathan and our colorist Andrew Dahlhaus and our letterer Taylor Esposito, they left it all out in the field. And so you really get to see Space Ghost and Jan and Jace step up in ways that you've never seen before. And so, yeah, I couldn't be more thrilled with the response to Space Ghost. Nobody's more surprised than me. I when I took on the book, I had no idea if it was going to catch on. But I took sort of every instinct I had and every bit of every lesson that I learned. I want to give a shout out to my Tom Brevoort, my editor at Marvel. Every lesson I learned from him, I sort of brought into Space Ghost. And the response has been overwhelming in the best possible way. So I want to thank everybody watching and everybody who supported the book. You're the reason that we get to continue this series. And so, we got some really fun stuff coming, both in the annual and in season 2. That's going to take our core formula. We're not deviating from it, but we're going to be taking different angles at that, continuing to challenge Space Ghost and his dynamic with Jan and Jace, but also we're setting up the even bigger stakes for season 2 that could ripple across the entire universe as we know it.
Nice. And not to be outdone, you also teamed up with Mad Cave to make a Speed Racer book. That is a really unexpected turn. Dropped on Free Comic Book Day, launches in July. I believe the end of July is when you get in the first issue. Where did this come from? What was this all about?
So, it came about. I want to give a shout out to my editor, Chaz Pangburn, on this, because I've worked with Mad Cave in a book called The Devil That Wears My Face. And if you haven't read it, it's me and Alex Cormack. It's Face Off Beats the Exorcist, about a priest and a demon who swap bodies after an exorcism gone wrong. And, I had such a good time working with Mad Cave. They've been so supportive of me and my work. Mark London and Chris Fernandez and Mike Martz and Christina Harrington. And so Chaz Pangburn and I were talking after Devil wrapped up and trying to find, a good licensed book for me to work on. And either the scheduling didn't really work, or I didn't really know enough about that particular property that I was like, I don't know if I'm the right fit. But at San Diego, Chaz cornered me during a Devil That Wears My Face signing. He says, listen, we've been doing these books with Tatsunoko. We've been doing Gotcha Man with them. It's been very successful for us. And so we're going to be expanding our licensing agreement to pick up Speed Racer. Would you have any interest? And anybody who knows, knows my work over the years, I love writing car chases in comics. You saw it in the first 2 volumes of Spencer and Locke. We had a little bit in the OZ, Scout's Honor. Even The Devil That Wears My Face has a big carriage chase. Moon Knight City of the Dead has like an aerial dogfight with the Scarlet Scarab. I love being able to convey motion and speed and intensity in a static medium. And you see like the best of the best in how they do it. David Aja with his issue of Hawkeye, which is a huge influence. Trad Moore, an all-timer with all-new Ghost Rider. George Santiago Jr. from Spencer and Locke. I want to give him a shout out because I thought he did some amazing car chases in our first 2 volumes. And so when Chas approached me for this, with a long runway, it was originally 15 issues, but now we added a 16th with Free Comic Book Day. 16 issues of car chases. I knew there was no way I was going to get another shot at doing that. You just can't do that in this business. And so Speed Racer has been such a fun book, similar to Space Ghost and Captain Planet. It's brand new continuity, so you don't have to watch the original cartoon in order to get on board with our book. And if you missed out on issue 0 for Free Comic Book Day, that's okay. Issue 1 is also going to serve as an issue 1. So you don't have to do any prior reading. But yeah, I pitched it as Rocky in a race car, like the idea of seeing Speed on his hero's journey, going from winning illegal back alley street races to joining the Formula X League, to becoming a Formula X champion, and all the trials and tribulations along the way. And also seeing all those, his relationships, build. He meets Trixie for the first time. She's the Carol Ferris to his Hal Jordan, and that she owns the race car team that he winds up competing under. Pops Racer, who, he's the creator of the Mach 5, but he's got a lot of inner conflict about speed racing because that's the sport that took his oldest son, Rex Racer, from him, who now is living in the margins as Racer X. You see Spritle, who we've kind of remixed as sort of a streetwise hustling live streamer, who's literally just like encouraging people to bet heavy on his brother's races so they can bring in more money. I love Speed Racer, not just because of the character. I mean, the character himself is amazing. He broods. He's got this simmering intensity. He's, not to sound too hoity-toity about it, he's a little like Hamlet, and so he's such a fun character. But because he doesn't have powers, he doesn't have the costumes, he's not a superhero. The closest he has is the Mach 5. It's really his stakes are very personal. There's the soap opera of it all. So getting to dig into his wants and his passions and his desires, it's a really fun experience. But I think ultimately this is a series about chasing your passion. And I think, I'm sure you can respond. You can empathize with this as anybody watching that. And I certainly feel it as I was a comics fan before I became a professional. And what is that evolution of you love something and then you take a shot at it and then suddenly you find yourself catapulted under this big spotlight, and can you hack it? And I think that's something as a comics writer I can certainly empathize with. And so it's sort of, how do you step up your game? How do you lean on the people that, in your support network to get you across the finish line? And ultimately, how do you step up your game in order to sort of, earn your keep and earn your spot? So Speed Racer has been such a fun book. The response to our Free Comic Book Day issue was amazing. And that was just sort of like, that was just a little taste of it. We're doing a lot of done in ones and done in twos in this series, similar to Space Ghost. So it's easy to get in. And it's been a really fun book. Artist David Tinto has been doing incredible work on this book. Really just crushing it. If you saw in our Free Comic Book Day issue, and we've got just a murderer's row of talent on our covers. And so, very fortunate. I feel very grateful to be doing a book like this. And it's very unlike anything I've written before, but I feel very passionate about it.
That's great, man. Very busy. I'm thrilled to see that your docket is so full and with such fantastic IPs, but also that you're not to be outdone. You just wrapped up your horror book from Mad Cave as well, and I understand. Will there be more?
Well, there will be more horror books for me, for sure. Yes, Alex Cormack and I were sort of dotting the I's and crossing the T's, but we should be starting another horror project sometime this year. So that'll probably come out, I would imagine, sometime next year. But yes, Alex is such an amazing collaborator. I love working with him. And so the moment we finished Devil That Wears My Face, I'd actually pitched him on another story before that, and he was like, "Oh, I don't know if I can do it." And we had such a great experience working on Devil together that he was like, "Okay, you know what? That idea you pitched me, let's do it." Yeah, we should be starting with that relatively soon. And I've been keeping busy. Cable Love and Chrome is going to be wrapping up next week over at Marvel.
That's right.
And sort of our Edge of Tomorrow meets The Fault in Our Stars with the techno-organic virus. So Cable on a sort of a timey-wimey bending romance of it all. And he has just figured out that his mortal enemy, Cicada, has a pretty big secret that is going to impact him and the time stream in a major way. So we're going to see that play out in our big conclusion coming out next week. And then in October, 10-Ton Titan Terrier from Paper Cuts. That's super fun. It's Pokemon meets Pacific Rim, about a meteor crashes into Earth with kaiju eggs and an alien battlesuit. And the only creature on Earth capable of turning it on is an 11-inch tall terrier. So super fun and age-appropriate Pacific Rim for fans of Godzilla and giant robots and dog lovers of all ages. That's coming out October 7th.
That's great, man. I'm thrilled to hear it. I'm excited about it. I'm sorry I didn't tee up the Cable book, but I'm thrilled that it's going well and that it's wrapping up to satisfaction for you. That's exciting. Anything else you want to pimp out before we wrap up, or is there?
No,
I mean, like, ain't that enough? I feel like that's what is that?
No,
like
listen, anybody watching, you can add Space Ghost, Captain Planet, Speed Racer to your pull list. You can pre-order 10-Ton Titan Terrier, and if you've missed out on Cable Love and Chrome, ask your comic shop if they've got any copies. You'll be able to get the whole thing next Wednesday. But no, Sal, thank you so much for having me on. It's always a pleasure catching up with you.
It's absolutely my pleasure, man. Good to see you again, and hopefully I will see you in San Diego.
Yes, I'll see you there.
All right. Enjoy your day, man. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Have
See
a
you
good
later.
one.
You too. Bye-bye. And there you have it, everybody. That was David Pepos, writer of so many things, including Captain Planet and the Planeteers and more. We really appreciate him swinging by the show to lend us his insights into these projects. And I want to thank David and Dynamite for setting that up for us. But not to be outdone, we also have our lovely and talented co-host Tiffany rejoining the show. Thank you so much for being here, Tiffany.
No problem.
And so the show rolls on.
Hades, sorry.
I see. Yes. Well, that's how it goes. Did you say everything you wanted to say about Black Panther?
Yeah, I did.
All right. Then let us return to One World Under Doom, number 4 from Marvel. Let's see here. Maybe this. Nope. This. There it is. All right. One World Under Doom. Ryan North, RB Silva, same creative team the whole time.
Heck yeah.
What's going on here? Dormammu has returned. He proves that Strange is the true Sorcerer Supreme, but also that he's like, hey, you used all your magic to pat yourself on the back. You're not you took away all the Strange safeguards.
Yeah. Which
is also kind of funny and relevant for today. Hey, it's really hard to fix things and build up infrastructure, but it's really easy to rip it down. And when you do, dark dimensional demon gods show up. But this whole book is just one big fight scene between Doom and Dormammu. How do you feel about it?
I thought this one was fire.
It was fun.
I was like, did you read this? Did you read this? You're like, I haven't
did.
Yet.
You were, and I was waiting for the 11th hour Doctor Strange arrival for you to be excited, but apparently it was just a cool fight.
I really okay, I think the best call North could have made was to switch up the feel of this book by having an equal egomaniac enter the fray, because it's like it's been our heroes just doing things that people are getting annoyed about, but it's like they would probably do that. They're just written kind of how could you not believe this? And it's I get it from their perspective, but it's I think North made a really good call of being like, okay, I'm going to take them all off the table for a second. And we're just going to have Doom deal with somebody who also thinks he's the latest and greatest.
Yes. Who is you said it best when you called him an egomaniac.
Yes.
Where it's these two would never work together because they would trip each other up.
Oh, 100%.
And so why not put them against each other because they both fancy themselves gods?
Yeah. And I really like I said, like taking the heroes off the field.
Yeah, so there's no interaction, there's no distraction. It's just Doom versus Dormammu. It's a straight up Doom Dormammu fight.
Yes, it also puts Doom in a nearly impossible scenario, which is something we don't get to see very often. In fact, it allows North to really play with Doom's like inner monologue or
Yeah, we get to
dialogue.
see what he's thinking, which is so rare.
Yeah, and we get to build to a moment of doubt for Doom, which is like possibly one of the like most incredible things I've ever seen. Because Doom does not doubt,
No.
but he did this time for a second.
Indeed.
He's like, I'm gonna lose.
Right.
I'm like, wow. Maybe there's a little growth for him as well.
Probably not.
Really great use of Dormammu. Having him not only actually want to take over, like he's like, yeah, no, I want to take over, but also I'm gonna dress this guy down.
Oh yeah.
Like I listen, I'm here. This is not all about me making Doom feel bad. No. I'm gonna take this world, this realm, this whole thing. This is mine now. Thank you so much.
Even though I don't really care about it, like there was a funny moment where he like refers to it where he's like, nah, as far as realms go, this is fine.
Yeah, like what I just want it because I can't have it.
Right. Yeah. Because Strange won't let me have it.
Because Steven said I can't have it. So I'm gonna take it, but I'm not gonna not take this opportunity that you're presenting to me, which is to have my cake and eat it too. Because like look at you.
Yeah.
Look at you.
You poor sad man.
It's gonna dress you down.
Yeah.
Which I love. He tries to take down a peg, and he's like Dormammu's just petty, and I love it. He's petty the way Doom can be.
Yes.
Sometimes. I mean, Doom and
But
Dormammu I think
more-
are very different beasts.
They're so different, but also like they're the same sides of the they're two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
Love it.
We do use a Doombot in this,
We do.
which I love. I was like,
Yeah.
of course. But this also, I was afraid that Doom had maybe set this up on purpose.
Yes.
And I still am.
I mean, Doom.
and we'll talk
the
about
fact that
that in
Doom
a
even set
second.
up 3 spells before Dormammu even arrived. I'm like, well then.
No,
how
I don't
did
think I think he set it up while the Doombot was fighting.
Oh, okay.
I
that
think
would be
we're-
more fun. That'd be more
I think
exciting.
we're meant to believe that he was like the Doombot kind of stepped in.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe can we talk about like the elephant in the room for me?
Yeah.
Which is like a great elephant. I love this elephant. So
Uh-huh.
thrilled to have this elephant. Doom's use of new spells is so much fun.
It is.
Obviously, there's a little bit of like fan service in here, but it's completely earned.
Yes.
And it definitely made me go like when he's like, I'm going to like, make a spell or whatever, and he goes flame on. I
Yeah.
was like, oh
Like,
my
what?
god, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And then when he does optic blast, he does that a whole bunch.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, even though flame on is so much more
Tethered to his
to
world.
him, when he goes snicked, I was like,
This is fun.
what is happening right
Yeah,
now?
it's really
I'm
weird.
having a really good time.
Yeah. Would Ryan North be a good Doctor Strange, right?
I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, just based on your ways, you're watching a wizard's duel.
Yes. I think so. Like, let him like Ryan North is just pitching to me that he could write not an actual sequel, but a spiritual sequel to Triumph and Torment.
Right.
Like, give North Strange and Doctor Doom and let them go on an
yeah,
adventure
do that
together.
book. Just call it The Doctors, and it's
Yeah.
just the two of them.
The Doctors are out, and it's after this they get sent to the Dark Dimension. And have to
Yes.
find their way through,
Yeah, Doom and Strange trapped in the Dark Dimension,
or some other dimension.
12-issue
I don't know.
miniseries. Yeah, and then that segues into the J.M. DeMatteis Triumphant Return.
Yes. So it's just
Yeah.
Marvel,
But it's a
you
good
can take
book.
That.
Yeah, this is great, and because there are a few humans in it, like
That's what I was gonna say. I literally was like, I wrote in my notes. I was like, because Silva's art in this issue is gonna be more of a hit for a lot of people because of the fact that there are fewer faces, and instead it's just an epic action like sequence, which he's really, really skilled at for sure.
Yeah. Oh no. Oh well. All the superhero stuff looks great. All of the inorganic material looks great. Even the fight and the characters look great. It's just those faces. It's just like a weird thing. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But everything else in this great, and
Yeah.
this issue in particular because it's just a steel mask and a pumpkin head.
Yeah, it was so good. I mean, everything about what Doom does in this is like heroic Doom through the Doom lens.
Yeah.
Where he's like,
You're no
I
hero.
am a hero, but also everything I do, like no one else could do this.
Yeah.
Like no, people would rather kill themselves than try
That'd
to
be this awesome.
to try to fix their like limbs or to compel them to move. But I do
Right.
it, and I'm like, yeah, of course, yep,
Like okay,
yep.
okay, Vic.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Yep,
Yeah.
we understand. You're the best, I guess,
Exactly.
at what you do. And what you do is go snicked. And like I'm sorry. I can't get over how much that was so much like Flame On was like, this is fun. Wow, Optic Blast, sure, whatever. And then we get that like just,
Yeah, I
that
almost
doesn't even make it. I'm like, why?
I almost
Why
wish
am I
they'd-
so
I almost wish they'd inverted them.
No, I thought that too.
Yeah.
I guess yeah, that could have been fun. But you would have expected it. You did not see Snicked coming.
No.
Like you did not expect like Doctor Doom to honestly be like, no, I've studied the heroes.
And I'm popping the claws.
And I'm popping the claws because maybe out of all of them, he's just like he's lasted the longest.
Yeah. Oh, that's fun. Yeah.
You know, there's something about Wolverine.
Yeah.
Wolverine always makes it. So
I'll steal his abilities.
I gotta try this.
Yeah.
My thing though was that Doom did let the defenses of Earth fall so that this did this happen? Like, did he allow them to fall to allow this to happen so that Earth's mightiest heroes will learn to trust him?
I don't think so.
I know. I don't think so either. But as I was reading it, I was like, could it be? But he's so panicked at like one point that I'm like, pretty sure he probably did not.
Yeah, no, I think he screwed up.
But regardless, this could be a real team building event for them.
Absolutely. Well, getting trapped in the dark dimension will help, but or a pocket dimension, I should say.
Yes.
But I mean, it's a great way for Doom to reveal that he doesn't deserve the mantle, and so ergo, Doctor Strange gets it back.
No, I'd say this absolutely proved that he deserved the mantle because he stood up against Dormammu. He put himself.
But you put this situation here. Like, you're the reason why this happened.
All right, listen. That's like saying, that you can't have any on-the-job training.
You're not the best plumber because you broke the toilet main and then fixed it.
But how is the best way to learn?
Not that way.
How is the best way to learn?
Yeah. All right.
It's to fail.
Right. Yes, of course.
And Doom doesn't have a lot of those lessons anymore.
Oh, that's true.
So this might be a great opportunity for him.
Yeah, well, so we'll see. That's cool. It was fun. It was a good book.
It was really fun. I apparently I just want a Doctor Doom book written by Ryan North. I don't know. I like the fact that he called his dinosaur his steed.
Yeah.
Oh, even my steed. I'm
it's
like okay.
That's a sentient you that's in the shape of a dinosaur. He's like a person.
The fact that he's like, I refer to dinosaurs and horses as the same type of beast. They convey me from point A to point B.
Precisely. I don't blame him. And then finally, Absolute Batman dropped, which oops, there we go. Absolute Batman number 8, part 2 of the 2-part Scott Snyder Marcos Martin team up. If you have already been a fan of, if not a subscriber to this channel, you might have already gotten a little bit of a taste of it because Scott Snyder came on this very channel and we dedicated an entire hour to just chatting about more or less Absolute Batman. So if you haven't already checked that out, you should. It's a really great conversation. Or if you'd like to watch it in like 30-second bites, there's shorts that are being released over the last couple of weeks / next couple of weeks that will include Scott kind of like dropping some knowledge and science about these things. But Marcos Martin is a great fit for this book where Dragata is also kind of like he is the visual style of the book. Like Absolute Batman is something else if you don't have Dragata on it. And but Martin is a good worthy successor / complement to the series.
Yeah.
And you get to see Batman. You get 2 stories, obviously. You get the fallout of Batman revealing that he is Batman to his friends, who are also, of course, part of the Rogues Gallery in the alternate universe. And we see their reactions to it and how they're just like, hey, like, I have thoughts. I have feelings about you. Like, when you went with me on this, that means you were just doing this. If you were training for such and such, like, you were using me to be this. I thought it was very interesting that Scott likened their interpretation of Batman to Batman being a suicide note, which I was like, oh, I remember that being a whole thing in the Tom King run, and I did not care for it. And I guess I get it in this.
Do you like this? Like it in here?
Not especially,
because
but
I definitely did.
Yeah, I don't hate it, but I also understand, like, okay, this Batman isn't thinking. Like, this Batman has only reacted since his father died.
Yes.
And, like, he's kind of just, like, been sleepwalking through his life, and his friends won't let him push them away. But he's been very, like, singularly driven. I don't necessarily believe the Batman is a suicide note as much as I
See,
think that it's more like that's how they interpret his Batmaning.
I think that you're putting too harsh a terminology to it, because this is just the theme for these like two issues. Because if you consider the whole like dialogue that Freeze has
Oh,
about
yeah.
like the pain, and after like the first 30 years, like you'll kind of just become accustomed to it and you'll love it and stuff like that. And that, that's just,
It's just
maybe another critique about Batman as well.
Uh-huh.
But that's what the friends are talking about, where it's like, you could make a connection there where it is what you said. I took it as his friends going, Matches had guilt because of your dad. And so he did things that were reckless.
Right.
Because like maybe he wanted
to die
or something to happen because he felt like maybe he deserved it.
Uh-huh.
I think that's very different than the harsh terminology that you're putting to it.
Well, that's what Scott said in the interview, which is why I use it.
Oh, okay. Well, listen, Scott.
Yes, no,
that's not what you wrote.
There's a difference here. I think Matches has survivor's guilt.
Well, and I think Bruce does as well, but Bruce doesn't see it in himself because he's like, no, what I'm doing is I'm
fixing it.
I'm burying my feelings down so deep down, way deep down, just underneath Batman, and punching people and like being awesome and big and doing all these things, because what I just need to do is, obviously I saw my dad didn't have a whole lot of time, so maybe I don't have a whole lot of time
right
either. So I gotta just do as much as possible in the amount of time I have, and I gotta like just work off this guilt, because like I made us go to the zoo,
right?
But I'm never gonna do that, so I just gotta do as much as possible and just keep punching until the demons stop yelling at me.
Well, they're not going to, but you gotta let it go.
But that's where maybe, unlike what Tom was doing, Scott is going like, hey, his friends are like, well, that's we're here for you.
Yeah, exactly. Like you saw us as like tools, but we're your friends.
We're your friend. Like the tools we are the tools for healing.
Yes.
And for remembering, and for like maybe on your worst days being there for you.
And
on your best days being there for you. I mean, also there's this, I guess, the whole Batman in the room, but we just want to be your buddy. And I just think this was like this like construct of having it be within this Freeze story was kind of cool.
I agree.
Pun intended.
Yes.
And in fact, this story, I was kind of like, I was lukewarm on the first issue.
I know.
And then this one, I was like, damn.
Right.
Damn.
Yeah.
He's just something to say. It like completely got me.
I know.
Well, that's kind of par for the course with this series for me, where it's like some issues I'm like, wow.
Yes.
Wow. And then other issues I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Could have been anything.
They're not bad.
Care. No, it's just like whatever.
But they're lukewarm for you.
Yeah.
And I totally get that.
Yeah.
And Freeze, he's scary, he's creepy, he's cool. Like it's very different. It's a very new, very fresh interpretation of Freeze. I'm thrilled that we got this. I'm especially thrilled that he's in this universe. Like, I'm glad we didn't just go, well, we've done the whole dead wife thing. Let's do this something. Like, I like that approach in this universe, as opposed to like, well, we're going to throw away everything we've done with the main universe, which is everyone's interpretation.
No, he managed to make a link to a character where it's like, this could totally work.
This could totally work.
And I really appreciate it. Like, this is just prime Scott storytelling.
Yes.
But like, without a history lesson.
No, well, like it's new Scott. It's the Scott who's like excited and like he's like, it's funny. You think about like the Dark Knight Returns allusions and references throughout the series. I think that they're for him. Like, I think they're for Scott. I think he's like the rain is a baptism on my chest. Like I'm a man of 30, of 20 again. Like, I think this is the young Scott with all the experience.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Like,
I
to
agree.
see that, and you know what? Like, was nearly every issue from the New 52 with Greg Capullo was a slam dunk. Like, nearly every issue.
Wow, even Gordon?
Well, you loved that.
I know. I didn't. You did not.
I didn't love it, but I was also like, what's going on? Like, why are we doing this? Also, because the DCU era was stupid. But and because I didn't know, if I had known that it would end and the Dr. Manhattan would stick it over there, I'd be like, oh, well, then who cares? Let's have fun.
Right.
But like Didia was all about like, no, this is it. There's never going to be another. We're doing, you know what I mean? Like this whole insistence, and then getting any insight behind the curtain during that period was like, oh yeah, no, they're never bringing it back. Like, they're not going to, like, this is the world now. So yeah, it was tough.
Yeah, I understand.
But now in hindsight, it's like, oh well, now it's like, who gives a shit? It's like having fun. But even when he stumbles, it's still a good book. It's still
for sure.
still a top 5.
Oh, absolutely. The end.
Yeah. Well, the whole Arc M thing, which I think is a little on the nose, but whatever. I love the idea of like, I hate the idea and I love it. I think it's because I hate how sad it is, but Croc getting nabbed. Is this going to happen to all of them?
Well, I think it was 2 of them.
I thought it was just. I thought it was just Croc.
I thought it was 2.
Mm.
Yeah, I was legitimately shocked.
Mhm.
Like, I had legit shock to that. But I think that was the reaction Snyder wanted.
Yes.
As it was happening and unfolding in front of me, I was like,
Oh, no.
oh,
Yeah.
oh. That's sad.
I know.
Which is why maybe he was like, no, we have to have the friend conversation now.
Yes, that's right.
While Croc can still formulate words
Uh-huh.
appropriately. Martin, I thought, was bringing some like A game to this issue for sure.
Yeah.
I think a lot of folks probably resonated with the knock knock panel.
Definitely.
Kind of a showstopper.
It was a showstopper. I think this book, Scott is like, every issue has to have at least one big thing, like one big moment.
Yeah.
And what a good restriction to put on yourself.
But I think knock knock was like, it was quite strong.
Mm-hmm.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, but they all are.
I think that really tethered it back to the other issues.
Yes.
In a way, like this doesn't feel like it's just like what I mean, like it's all connected, but
this
totally speaking, that really brought me right back to that.
Yeah.
But for me, the panel right after it of Freeze, really brought me back to that Ito feel.
Oh yeah.
Like there was just something about the framing of it. It's tiny, it's a little panel, and I was just like, "Ooh, there we are." There's the scariness again.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, like this still isn't my favorite Absolute Universe
book, but it's still great.
But this issue was really, really, really strong, and I'm really looking forward to more. This one just hasn't. Every issue doesn't resonate with me in the same way that this does, but like when it's high, it's high.
That's right. I agree.
And I think this issue is very, very good.
Yeah.
And I'm not looking forward to his. I feel like this Batman hasn't really had a chance to get his footing. Like he came into it feeling like he may have had his footing, but he really hasn't.
Nope.
And it just keeps being pulled out from underneath him for sure. And I kind of feel bad.
Yeah.
But I feel more bad for his friends.
Yes.
But at least it wasn't because he's Batman.
No.
There is no guilt here necessarily.
Exactly. I agree. But what is the book of the week?
Great question.
For me, I mean, I got to give it to Dark Patterns. I love this series. I love this book. This was ridiculous. It was awesome. It's a triumph every time it comes out. There's no question about it.
I mean, I really want to give it to either of the Ultimate books because Black Panther is just so perfectly consistent, perfectly strong, perfectly good. Peach Momoko really came out swinging, but it's got to be One World Under Doom because I just had so much fun with it because it felt so true to the character. I think this book has been like some people really are liking it, some people not, but I think this issue in particular probably won some fans of it. And I just really like North's voice for Doom in terms of using magic.
I agree. That's fair. It might have been on my list if it weren't for the Batman stuff. Let's jump into some super chats before we recommend comics that come out this week that we think you should check out. Drew Markham says, can't watch live, but thank you for all your hard work. I don't know what it is, but Absolute Batman isn't doing it for me, but it's probably just my bias towards Flash, GL, and Superman. Well,
totally fair.
That's why they're there.
Yeah,
for you to enjoy those instead.
Josh Wollabow says, X-Men Turtles, they're both mutants, too obvious?
I think this actually hits on something where, like the Godzilla thing, if they were to do a Ninja Turtles Spider-Man, do them all. Like, don't just do Spider-Man Ninja Turtles. Like, that way you could get away with doing the Daredevil Ninja Turtles, because I think Daredevil Ninja Turtles is one of those things where it's like, it's been there since page 1 of the Mirage book. Like Matt's always been connected to the Turtles, but there is no way that Daredevil Turtles will sell the way that Spider-Man Turtles will sell.
That's true.
So just do Turtles Marvel and just do each of them. Like do a Spider-Man, Daredevil, X-Men, do them all.
Yeah.
Hell, do one with the Guardians or something where they deal with the Triceratons. Like, do everything where you can really play with
kids or whatever they are.
The hot rodding teenagers from Dimension X, you mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, like there's so many options, and the Turtles are so versatile that you could really have some fun with it and not just go, man, that Spider-Man book sold pretty well. It's too bad we'll never be able to do anything well. Like, just the Turtles and the X-Men. Yeah. Turtles and everybody, but like
Turtles and everybody,
baby. Turtles and Hulk. Like that'd be kind of fun. I don't know how. I don't know what the pitch is, but I'm ready for it. Girk Pectus, you see the new Final Destination was so fun and funny. No, I've never seen a single one, and I'm good.
Yeah, they stress me out.
Yeah.
Oh no! I was hoping I would never have to answer this question because I don't have an answer to this question. Lenny Laserdiscs coming in saying, Tiffany, what is your favorite fictional weapon and why? Also, I figured out what the dark patterns are. Not going to say anything though. Ooh!
Oh, okay.
You guys you had a full conversation about it. I don't have an answer.
Well, we talked about only the movie
Oh
ones.
yeah, this is fictional. This is too many.
Yeah. If you're wondering what he's talking about, check out our episode of No Comic Required, a new podcast we've launched that's bi-weekly for the most part, with me and the gang, where we just chat about stuff. Check out that show.
I don't have an answer.
Mhm.
I really don't, because I don't have enough time to think about it.
I know.
Or enough like talking about it. Let's just go with right now off the top of my head.
Mhm.
Obviously, everybody's always thinking like portal guns, but I feel like that's not a weapon.
Yeah,
weapon.
it's not really a weapon.
It's not a weapon. It's such a.
But it is a gun.
It is for sure. I mean, in the Super Earth flag, yes.
Yeah, right now.
Yeah, right now for sure. Heck yeah. Right now, off the top of my head, I was thinking the gun from Dredd.
Oh yeah, the Peacemaker or Lawmaker.
Yeah, the one from the movie Dredd, though.
Yeah, not Judge Dredd, the movie from
no.
Sylvester Stallone.
Only because I like him going through them all. Yeah, hot shot.
Exactly. Club Remix says, thoughts on Wolverine Origins comic book. It's controversial because he murders countless innocent people for it fun, but I think the origin needs to be dark. If you're talking about the Jenkins Kubert book, I love that book. I don't remember him doing that, but that's all I got for you. There you go.
Oh, Revolutionary Dragon. I'm still thinking about this. Revolutionary Dragon saying, hey, ComicPop, did you hear they're changing Spider-Gwen by having her be in 616 the entire time in history, throwing away her universe?
Yes, I've heard that. I heard they're going to like TVA. There's going to be like a whole thing. It's not just going to be like they're throwing away the universe. It will be within continuity. Like she will have come from another universe. It won't be like, oh, Gwen from like the 70s was also Spider-Gwen. But yeah, it's a shame because I don't think the Spider-Gwen's very interesting. And I don't like her universe was great and her character looked awesome. But what has been proven time and time again is that she just doesn't sell books. Like there's not enough there. She's all style and no substance, unfortunately. That's that's how I feel about Spider.
That's fair.
Which is hard to believe that a variant cover would inspire such a feeling. Godzilla, imagine if One World Under Doom is when they finally bring back the Ben Sinister extra points if Spidey and Strange get pulled into the shenanigans. They're not going to do this Ben Sinister. Would that be great, though?
That would be amazing.
I would love that. Jumping into some recommendations for books that are coming out this week.
Yeah, we should do that.
Tech number 1097 is coming out. I'm excited for Detective Comics. I like this book. I enjoy it quite a bit.
Absolute Flash number 3 is coming out. I like this book for whatever reason. Ton of fun.
Yeah. Ultimates 12. Everyone's splooging over this book. Batman Superman World's Finest number 39, continuing the event that I would love to get Mark Waid on this show to talk about, but who knows. Amazing Spider-Man number 4. Yeah. I guess we'll recommend it.
Now, I don't like my answer now, but I can't come up with anything better.
I know. You will.
That's not fair.
Yeah. Valimax. Valifax. That's
You're thinking of Alchemax.
Wonder Woman 21. This is a great series. The last issue, Wonder Woman 20. If you haven't read it, it's great. It's really, really, really good. Batman and Robin Year 1. I've not read any more of this book. It's great though. It had been when I stopped reading it, and I'm still recommending it. It's still good.
New Gods number 6 will be dropping. Very much looking forward to that. Moon Knight Fist of Khonshu number 8. I don't know why. I feel like it's been a while since
it has been a while since
Moon
there's
Knight.
been
I don't know
Moon
why.
Knight. Yeah.
Oh, Zatanna number 4. Freaking love this book, people. Oh, so good. Oh, and Bug Wars number 4 is also dropping.
Nice. There's going to be a Spider-Man and Wolverine ongoing from Mark Guggenheim and Kari Andrews. I'll check out the first issue. I'll try anything once.
There's no way you won't.
Yeah.
Doom Academy number 4 is also dropping.
Nice. DC and Sonic the Hedgehog number 3.
Oh my
which
God.
is a series that
Are
I'm
you
still reading.
it?
There's only 3 issues. Why the hell not? And here's the thing. There is a number 1 for The Thing coming out from Tony Fleesh and Justin Mason. If you haven't already, I'll read The Adventures of the Ever-Loving Blue-Eyed Thing. Why the hell not? And
Why do you like this?
that should be it.
Wait.
Yeah, I think this is a collection. J.M. DeMatteis, creator of Babylon 5, was pimping out the fact that he did these like 2-part books. Remember like Doom and Rocket Raccoon?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like done.
Well,
like,
this is
so,
J. Michael Straczynski.
Yeah, I know. That's what I said.
Oh, no, you said...
Oh, J. Michael Straczynski, creator of Babylon 5. Yeah, he did this whole like 2-part team-up book series that's all part of the same story arc.
Oh.
And so Hulk and Doctor Strange is coming out. I don't know if it was like a reprint or not. I'm assuming it's a reprint. But
plus Aunt May and Agatha Harkness.
Yeah.
Great. Interesting.
Great. 2 old ladies. Yep. And there's a new Superman book that I won't be reading.
Fair. I'm just looking to see what else is here. You never go down past a certain point.
Yeah, well, there's a reason for that.
No, there's fun stuff down here. There's a lot. Like there's a new
that's
Ghostbusters
right.
book.
Yeah, great. There is from the world of minor threats a brand new 3rd installment from Welcome to Twilight, which is a insanely fun series. You know, Jordan Bloom, Patton Oswalt. This one by Gail Simone and Gene Ha. And so the idea is that Welcome to Twilight, each issue is its own standalone story set in the world of the Minor Threats universe.
That's dope.
Yep.
That's fun. I feel like that series really got legs.
It does.
Like that world. I
know.
Say.
I'm shocked by how well expanded it has been.
Fantastic.
And I guess we could see how the Ghostbusters book is going. That last one was embarrassing. Is too light.
Yeah, I forgot they had a rough time.
It was really, really embarrassing. This one, I don't know. I can't see the interiors. And for some reason, the new Ghostbusters books, like they're like only showing the car instead of like the people, which is weird.
I'm still thinking about that weapon thing, guys. Come on, I'm really struggling with that one. There's too many good ones.
Yeah, well, you're never gonna get it. So there you go.
I'll come up with something.
You'll come up with something.
I don't
you
like
can
my
mention it on
answer.
a stream or something.
Yeah.
Speaking of streams, Tiffany streams on typically Tuesdays and Wednesdays on youtube.com at ComicPop Plays.
It's been all over the place.
Or twitch.tv/ComicPop. Last time we played Helldivers.
We might have to do it again. Super Earth's in trouble, guys.
I know.
It's real bad out there. I'm actually looking forward to whatever comes next. I will say, like, when it comes to developers, I don't know a lot about this team and that company, but I'm really impressed with their response to the community by putting themselves out there in the community, by having like some sort of plan, by acknowledging when things go awry, by fixing things. You know, it's just good.
They're making a new game, or at least they're working on one, and they've broken their relationship with PlayStation, so they're only going to be doing it by themselves independently the next time. Which is probably a good idea.
What are they working on?
I don't know.
I
don't know.
Well, maybe we'll have to do that again.
Yeah. That'd be fun. We had a good time.
We did.
Ethan dropped in at the end, like
that was amazing. I was like, "What?"
Like Randy Quaid. He was just like, "Sorry, I'm late, Mr. President."
He totally if we didn't.
No, we wouldn't have made it.
We wouldn't have made it.
That's true.
He turned the tide for us.
But thank you to David Pepos for dropping in. We do appreciate your visit. Thank you to our super chatters for sponsoring today's show, and thank you to the chat for just being cool and being respectful and continuing the conversation. We do appreciate you showing up, you Monday warriors, so to speak, and. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel, click the bell for notifications, and click that thumbs up on the bottom there. And that helps us out. And check out all the other things we've done.
Yeah, why not?
We had a conversation with Tom King, Scott Snyder. Just recently, we've had several guests on Off the Rack over the last couple of weeks. You definitely check out those out.
Heck yeah.
Jeffrey Thorne was on the show finally after a long period of not my mea culpa. That was my fault. But we got plenty more. So hang in there, and we'll see you guys next time with another episode of Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
So long, everybody. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.